Arizona, homeowner's best friend.
Wrapping up this hour, back with Ty and Wendy Warbington. The whole theme for this hour is building with alternative materials and what to expect. The home inspectors didn't know what to expect.
This is a true story. So a lot of the homeowners are trade specific. A lot of the inspectors are trade specific, but they are required to inspect all of the trades, right? So their background might be trade specific, but they're required to inspect plumbing and electrical and framing and drywall, stuff like that. So on our project, we actually had 4 different inspectors, including the supervisor, because at one point or another, there was some head scratching moments from those individuals saying, I don't know what to do here, because it's not your typical framed house. Like, they might inspect 10 or 15 or 20 stick-built homes a day, and that's all fairly typical. But a steel-framed home is different. And they're like, we need to do some research. We need to look at this for a minute. So that was a bit of a chore as well.
And I remember you talking about, you said there was a supervisor, or one of the boss of the home inspectors. You had a conversation with him. Here's how we're going to do this. You did that. Scheduled the next inspector. He didn't come back out, and he failed it. And he's like, but that's what your boss told me to do. So you had to sit there, get him on the line, talk it all through. You spend a lot of time. Or generally a home inspection during construction phase. I mean, they've got their handful of bullet points they're looking for in that phase, in and out in 5 minutes if there's no problems.
That's correct. So in that particular instance, they were talking about fire blocking. And because we had 2 different walls inside for an exterior wall with some space in there, the inspector didn't know how I was going to stop the transfer of airflow from your attic into your walls and seal that off. And I didn't know what he was talking about, so I had to get educated on that. And in the meantime, this is about a 45-minute window. In the meantime, the supervisor come out to do an inspection because the supervisor needed to look at it. The inspector didn't know what he was doing as far as, how to tell me how to fire block it. And he's like, I don't know how to tell you how to do this. I need to get my boss out here to look at it. Okay. So I had called some folks that had educated me on what they were talking about. And when the boss got there to look at it, he called me and he asked me, he said, how are you going to stop the transfer of air from your attic into the walls? I said, I'm just going to spray foam. The whole cavity is going to be foam. He's like, the whole cavity? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, then there won't be no transfer of air at all. I said, correct. And he's like, super, you're good. Do it.
Now, I've got to jump forward a little bit here just because we're running short on time. There's a few more things I want to hit. You've been saying 3.5 years. During the break, Wendy's like, no, it was 4.
It's exactly 4 years when we moved in.
So getting your move-in permit, that had to be pretty exciting. How long have you been in now?
About 3 months.
And are there any knock list items left, or are you completely done?
No, once we got the house where it was somewhat livable, all work came to a stop.
Yes. So we had the basics. It was hot. RVs are not meant for summer in Arizona. We wanted to get in the house. So we just have finishing stuff to do. Baseboards, closet doors, finishing out the closets. But at the moment, it's not a priority. We just wanted a house with a real bathroom.
And what are y'all into it?
Money-wise?
Yeah.
What's the loan on it now?
The loan is under $400,000.
The manufacturer home was $170,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you thought, well, I can build one cheaper than that.
Yeah, and it cost us about $280,000 to build this home that is going to actually appreciate with the land and not depreciate like a typical manufactured home might do.
Because you said your note is under $400,000?
Under $400,000.
But the property was appraised, and it's right now going for...
Well, the property was appraised with the completed home on it for $1.3. So that's a lot of equity.
That's what $400,000 in cash and several years of family free labor will get you.
And sweat equity.
Lots of family, lots of family help.
Sweat equity.
Yeah.
That is accomplishing the American dream. Congratulations.
Does that factor
That's awesome.
in the price of the land?
Yeah.
Everything's in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we originally bought the piece of property for $340, irrigated, 5 acres.
We had equity from our home sale, so we used that obviously for part of it.
Yep. And then, so we had about $100,000 left over from the home sale we put down on the property. We bought the home kit out of pocket.
And so now looking at these numbers, you're like, hey, we should do this again. Let's go find a property.
I'd like to stay married. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Not happening. We're good.
Ty and Wendy Warbington, thanks for sharing y'all's story. Building a metal kit framed home in Pinal County. In 4 years, congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona home.